Chail told police officers that he is here to kill the Queen.
Right, later today, Jaswant Chail will be sentenced for treason following a guilty plea after being found with a crossbow in the grounds of Windsor Castle on Christmas Day in 2021. Do you remember that? Wow. It's the first person to be convicted of treason since 1981. He also admitted making threats to kill and possessing a loaded weapon.
We're going to cut now to our royal correspondent, Cameron Walker, who's live outside the Old Bailey. Cameron, we haven't had treason since 1981. That's when a teenager, I'm old enough to remember it, fired blanks at the Queen when she was on her horse, trooping the colour. It was a remarkable thing because everybody was startled and shocked and thought she, of course, didn't turn her hair. She was unruffled. So this is only the second treason conviction in 40 years.
Yeah, the Queen's horse, the beloved Burmese, was a little bit startled, but as you said, the Queen controlled her horse. That was a Marcus Sergeant who was sentenced to 5 years in prison under the Treason Act of 1842. And Jaswant Chail later on today will become the first person since the 1980s to be convicted, to be sentenced even, of the same crime. Just to picture the scene, it's Christmas Day 2021, early in the morning. The late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, and her close family members are just beginning to enjoy festivities when a 19-year-old man scales the outer perimeter fence of Windsor Castle using a nylon rope ladder, armed with a loaded crossbow capable of firing lethal force at its targets. Now, the safety catch was off, and Chail spent 2 hours inside the grounds of Windsor Castle, close to the Queen's private apartment, before being apprehended and challenged by police officers. Now, Chail told police officers that he is here to kill the Queen. Now, he was arrested and subsequently charged with 3 separate offences. The first, the most serious, the treason under the Treason Act, Section 2 of the Treason Act 1842, intent to injure or alarm the sovereign, also making threats to kill, and possession of an offensive weapon in a public place. Now, a couple of hours before he entered the grounds of Windsor Castle, he posted a video on WhatsApp to family and friends where he spoke of his intention to try and assassinate Queen Elizabeth II. He wore dark clothes and a metal face mask. He said it was revenge for the 1919 Amritsar massacre, where British troops opened fire on thousands of Indians. He also said he was sorry for what he was about to do. Now, police found a note written by Chail, which has been released in the last 24 hours or so. It says, "Please don't remove my clothes, shoes, gloves, mask, etc. Don't want post-mortem, don't want embalming, thank you, and I'm sorry." Well, during sentencing hearing, a Dr. Christian Brown, who was a psychiatrist treating Chail at Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital in London, told the court that Chail thought he was in a relationship with an artificial intelligence girlfriend, a chatbot, an avatar named Sarai. Now, the court also was told that Chail was a Star Wars fanatic and identified as a Sith, which is a villainous character in the Star Wars franchise, and he exchanged 5,000 messages with this AI girlfriend. A number of them were sexually explicit, but he said that he wanted to be united with her in the afterlife, and the psychiatrist said that it was part of his plans of working towards his own death. Now, the chatbot both discouraged and encouraged Chail to carry out his crimes. That is what the court heard. The prosecuting barrister said that the crimes were so serious that this has to attract a maximum possible sentence. The maximum possible sentence for treason 1842, the Treason Act 1842, is 7 years in prison. The prosecuting barrister also said that if Chail had raised his weapon at Queen Elizabeth II, then that would be high treason and a life sentence. Now, Chail is going to be sentenced later today at the Old Bailey, but 2 questions remain really for me. First of which is, how was it that a would-be assassin was allowed to wander around the grounds of Windsor Castle for 2 hours before being apprehended by police? And also, how was it that an artificial intelligence chatbot could encourage someone to commit or try to commit what would have been the crime of the century?